From stones and spears to swords and guns, from cannons to missiles, humans have always chased the next deadly weapon. And now laser weapons are fast emerging as the latest weapon of choice. Around the world, militaries are racing to integrate this weapon for combat. Israel, India, United States, United Kingdom, China, Russia, they're all investing heavily in directed energy weapons. So what exactly is a laser weapon? Well, in simple terms, a laser weapon fires a highly concentrated beam of light at a target. That beam carries enormous heat, even exceeding 3,000 degrees Celsius. When it strikes a drone, missile, or aircraft, it can burn through metal melt components or disable electronics within seconds. And Ukraine is the latest to join this race. To counter Russian drone attacks and amid shortages of air defense missiles, Ukrainian engineers have developed a homegrown laser system called Sunray. The system aims to shoot down kamikaze drones and other aerial threats. Sunray uses a concentrated laser beam to burn through a drone's body or fry its electronics mid-air. It operates almost silently, and the system is compact. Engineers can mount it on a pickup truck or a light vehicle, allowing forces to move it quickly across the battlefield. Developers estimate that while the prototype cost several $1 million, a full production model would cost far less than modern surface-to-air missile systems. Ukraine's military claims the laser can destroy attack drones, guided bombs, cruise missiles, and even ballistic missiles at distances of up to 3,000 meters. It can also target helicopters, aircraft, and reconnaissance drones up to 5,000 meters away. If trials succeed, Ukraine could become one of the few countries to deploy laser weapons in active combat. But laser weapons come with both advantages and its own limitations. On the plus side, they're extremely cost-effective. Air defense missiles can cost hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. In comparison, laser weapons cost only a few dollars per shot, making them far cheaper. While missiles can run out, laser systems can keep firing as long as they have electricity. For countries facing drone swarms, that is a major advantage. They're also compact, and they can be easily transported from one place to the other. However, laser weapons are not invincible. Weather conditions such as fog, rainfall, dust, or smoke, they all can weaken or scatter the beam. They require massive and stable power sources. Their effective range remains limited as compared to long-range missiles, and they must hold the beam steady on a target for a few seconds to cause damage, which is not always easy against fast-moving threats. Still, the direction is clear, from Israel's Iron Beam to American and British prototypes and India's 30-kilowatt laser weapon. The global arms race has just entered the age of light. The question is no longer whether lasers will shape modern warfare, but how soon will they redefine it? A major controversy has erupted at the Winter Olympics this year after a Ukrainian athlete was disqualified over a helmet honoring victims of the war with Russia. The International Olympic Committee, or the IOC, says that this move was based on rules prohibiting political expression during the competition, remember, but Kiev has condemned this decision, calling it a moment of shame. Ukrainian skeleton racer Vladislav Herskevich has been disqualified because he refused to remove his helmet, which paid tribute to athletes killed during the Russia-Ukraine war. The 27-year-old competitor was due to race at the Milan Cortina Games when the IOC withdrew his accreditation. Herskevich had made it clear that he intended to wear this helmet during the competition, despite being warned that it violated Olympic regulations. The IOC says it offered a compromise. He was allowed to display the helmet during training runs and was given the option to wear a plain black armband during the competition. He was also permitted to show the helmet after competing in the mixed zone, but he refused to change course. Now, this decision to disqualify him was taken by the jury of the International Bobsleigh and Skeleton Federation, which is the global body for the sliding sports of bobsleigh and skeleton.
Once you start, as a sporting organisation, once we start taking stands against wars and conflicts, there is no end. There is no end. And this leads into partly why we have these guidelines, is because if we start reflecting all of those conflicts in the world on the sporting field, there will be no sport.
As expected, this controversy has sparked outrage in Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky defended the athletes' right to honor the victims of the war. Ukraine's foreign minister, Andrei Sapkya, said that the IOC had damaged its own reputation, describing the move as a moment that future generations would remember with shame. Ukraine's sports minister has indicated legal action as well. The athlete now has the option to appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, though officials say that no appeal has yet been filed. The IOC has insisted that this issue was not about the message itself, but about maintaining neutrality in competition venues. Officials argue that allowing political displays on the field of play risks placing pressure on other athletes and undermining the Olympic Charter. But this episode has drawn emotional scenes as well. Behind the scenes, IOC President Kirsty Coventry reportedly held a private meeting with the athlete in a last-minute effort to persuade him to comply. IOC officials later described her as deeply emotional following the discussion.
I really wanted to see him race today. It's been an emotional morning. Yeah.
He was emotional as well. Could you share if the meeting got emotional?
You know, I think for me, I don't think we were in tears, but it was, he is an athlete, and for me, I was not speaking to him in that room as a president. I was speaking to him as an athlete. We have these rules in place to try and be fair, and also to try and allow for us to do both things, right? To allow for athletes to express themselves, but also to allow for athletes to be safe.
Outside the competition venue in Cortina d'Ampezzo, Ukrainian supporters expressed anger and disappointment. Many argued that the helmet was not a political statement, but a tribute to real individuals who were killed in an ongoing war.
I think this is a discrimination, and it's more about politics, and I think this is not correct. He represents, first of all, our country, and he is a great sportsman. And in the past, there was the same situation, and the sportsman was allowed to participate in the participation. So I think this is not correct.
I am very disappointed because this is not a joke, it's not made up, it's not a fantasy, it's real. These people that he showed in his helmet, they're real people that died because of the Russian invasion.
I stand in solidarity with him, and he'll get more publicity from being eliminated than he would have by competing in the race.
But remember, this is not the first time that Hereskevich has made a public statement about the Ukraine war. At the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, he displayed a banner reading "No war in Ukraine." Now, this latest dispute has once again reignited a long-running debate. Where is the line between political expression and personal tribute in global sport? Switzerland is set to vote on a plan to put a cap on its population. This proposal, which will be voted on in mid-June this year, seeks to limit Switzerland's permanent resident population to no more than 10 million people before 2050. The Swiss referendum comes amid a broader surge in public unease over high immigration across Europe and concerns rising over pressure on housing, public services and labour markets. The proposal from far-right Swiss People's Party, which is also the country's largest political party, says that the population explosion is inflating rents and straining public infrastructure and services. However, the government said on Wednesday that the SVP proposed referendum is strongly opposed by both chambers of the parliament and the business and financial services community. Switzerland's current population is 9.1 million, and the country has a high level of immigration. This as people are drawn by its high wages and quality of life. It has one of the largest proportions of foreign residents in Europe at 27% as per official figures. Switzerland's population has grown some 25% since 2000, much higher than most neighboring countries. The government says that this initiative would oblige the Swiss government and the parliament to act if the country's permanent population, which is currently 9.1 million, exceeds 9.5 million by denying entrance to newcomers, including asylum seekers and the families of foreign residents. If the population reaches 10 million, further restrictions would come into force, including the pressure on government to use every available policy tool to reduce it under the proposal, including renegotiating or terminating international agreements which drive population growth, such as the free movement of people between Switzerland and the EU.